Beep, 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 beep. Special Jester lunchtime update. How are we, good people? There's been a movement today. Not, all right, you lot, right? There's been a movement today. A movement. I've got an article from The Sun, right? Okay, The Sun. You know. Yeah, that's all right. I'm exactly the same. But, you know, who knows? Perhaps it's actually got some nuggets of truth in it, and I'm sure more will come out, if not before this gets out, certainly after. So let's wait and see what exactly it's going to mean. But the headline in The Sun is Rishi's school rules. Schools to be banned from letting pupils change gender if their parents opposed to it, in new guidance from Rishi Sunak. Now, there's going to be a lot of happy people there. Sunak has finally got off the fence and said something. But what is it he said? Now, my assumption is here that this is true, right? This is true. Let's just assume that for a minute, because it'll fall out anyway. When it all comes out, everybody will be looking at it and saying what's going on. So it's possible the Sun's either got it wrong, and it's more than probable they put their own slant on it. But it still makes it interesting for us to have a look and see what exactly it is they're saying as of today, which is when the article was printed. It was today, I believe. Just check. No, it was yesterday. Sorry, yesterday evening at 10 o'clock. when I was, in the land of the slumberings. Right. So schools will be banned from letting kids change their gender if their parents say no, The Sun can reveal. Okay. And children who want to be called by another pronoun, he, she, they, will not be able to take part in competitive sport. Right, okay. I don't believe that for a second. So they're off to a bad start to begin with. What I think that should say is they will not be able to take part in a competitive sport unless in their own sex category. That's what it should say, isn't it? But that's what I think they're saying. So not stopping them from playing. They're saying, listen, you're a bloke. Get in the blokes team. What's wrong with you? So normalcy. Normalcy. We're going back to normal, right? The Prime Minister has also expressed huge concerns over the content of sex education being taught to some pupils. If anybody saw the Daily Mail article, it was enough to make your hair stand on end. But be cautious, people. Be very cautious. We don't want to do a baby with the bathwater. All right, because there are a lot of things that young people and children do need to know. It's about getting that delicate balance right. You get what I'm saying, right? Okay? Yes, this may have happened, that may have happened, it may have not happened. We need to get this right, okay? What we don't need is an instruction manual on how to diddle with yourself when you're 9, right? Or here's what you can do up your bum. We don't need any. Thanks very much. But no, people will learn that for themselves. That's only the left who want to do that. I've said it before. The right, missionary position, only when you're married. Amen. The left, do what you want. Screw anything. Here's a 120-page manual. They're all mad. So let's keep it out of the hands of both, right? Let's give parents more choice, and let's make sure we get this right so that it's given factually and taught as simple knowledge rather than as a practical lesson, which is the worrying bit in some cases. Anyway, enough waffle about that. Let's move on. In a move which will be seen as the PM taking on militant trans campaigners. Teachers will be forced to tell parents their child is questioning their gender, even if the child objects. Now, that's an interesting one, because what that does is essentially it places a trans ideation. Funny, really, because I said about it in the one about the rabbi this morning. It's funny, really, that it's finally doing what it should do, which is recognising that a trans identification is a safeguarding risk immediately, which is good. That's a start, okay? Means we can start to protect children from being put on this train, the trans train, especially the gay ones, which is almost the reason that I object to this so much, is its rank homophobia. So that will be a start. The new guidance is set to spark a fiery backlash from the trans lobby, and other campaigners will argue it's up to children to tell their parents if they want to change gender. It's not. It's not, all right? Because it's not a thing. You understand? It's like going to your parents and say, right, I'm Napoleon. Innit? I'm Napoleon Bonaparte, right? Or, today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be Dawn French. No, you're not. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to have my foot taken off because it makes me more comfortable. No. You can't change your gender. All you can do is LARP as something you're not. Okay? Gender, a stupid word. Sex is sex. Gender's an overarching, disgusting system which most people don't understand. But there you go. Under the new plans, heads in England will be told that parents must always be consulted if a child wants to be called another name or wear a different gender uniform. I don't care what they wear. Genuinely, I don't care what they wear, right? Providing they wear the uniform that is prescribed. And the uniform that's prescribed should be trousers and shirt for everybody. There you go. Problem solved. Or don't have uniforms at all. Who cares what they come in? We do care, because it's necessary to teach young people about uniformity, to teach young people about getting on with the job. And for those that can't afford the really expensive Nike, they aren't made to feel a twat by the kid that can afford the really expensive Nike, which of course is always the kid that causes the problems with the other ones. Right? So, uniform debate, go have it. I'm staying out of it, except to say, trousers and shirt for everybody. Why not? Stops upskirting as well, which I believe is now a big thing in Japan, and we don't want it starting over here. So come on, get them trousers on. That's what it should be. Strange thing to have in the article, though, do you think, about gender? And the school will not be able to use the child's new preferred pronouns until parents give consent. I've got a problem with that. Got a problem with that. Nope, never, not at all. Now, I understand why Rishi's done it, and you'll see what happens next, if this is true. Teachers will be ordered not to recognise a transition within the school gates if the parents do not agree with it. And neither students nor teachers will have to call on other people by their preferred pronouns if they do not want to. No. You are leaving a dangerous, ideological belief system that's infected just about every part of our society in the hands of choice for kids. There is no choice. The schools not only don't teach it, they teach against it. Right? So they don't teach this nonsense, they teach against it. Get the kids in, right? Today we're going to be talking about traumatise the hell out of them with a few photographs and some truth. And then it shouldn't be mentioned, but it's a start. That's all I can say. Even if parents do give the green light, heads must also consider the mental effects on other children before approving the gender change following a long period of consideration. It's interesting, isn't it? What are you playing at, Sunak? What are you doing? Rishi, what are you doing? Schools will be ordered to take a precautionary approach to transitioning kids and will be urged to keep an eye on them at the first instance. But critics have warned the new rules may put kids at risk of harm. Teaching unions said they are dealing with a minefield around issues of gender while trying not to offend anyone. You wibbling, non-decision-making tosspots. Bloody union. Make a declarative statement and take a stand. You know what? Take a stand for reality. Take a stand for safety. Take a stand against a medical experiment that should never have been started in the first place, way back in the, God knows what it was, the 70s, right? And it should be stopped immediately. Take a stand. The hell is wrong with these people? We don't want to offend anyone. Offend people! Offend them! Why not? They're wrong! I don't get it, right? Offend them. If I want to take the piss out of, a Christian community and their belief system, or the Jewish belief system, or the Muslim belief, I can have a go, I can have a pop, take the piss. And you're worried about offending people because they have a belief in a gendered soul that is slipped into a sack of a body, and occasionally the God that does it get it so I'm going to offend these people. God's sake, let's have the scrap in public. Sooner the better. The PM will also insist that sport should be protected. Even though the teaching unions have said that, the new rules will say that if there is a significant safeguarding issue, it is a significant safeguarding issue, where kids may be put at harm, schools must always act to protect them. The idea is harm. The ideation is harm. Somebody taking that means that we know that they've got one of many comorbidities. The whole thing is harm. It then repeats the thing about they should not be allowed to play competitive sport, which is not true. I believe it's, you can play in sport, but it's got to be with, people of your own sex. Because that's how we organise our society, and we ain't changing it for you tossers, right? If their child expresses a desire to transition, for example, it's vitally important that parents are made aware and have a say. It's vitally important that parents are given the information to understand exactly where this virus has come from, what it leads to, what it takes part in, and what it's rooted in. It's absolutely imperative that parents are given the informed knowledge about what this is, and that the schools do not in any way pander to the practicing of gender identity, ideology, or queer theory in schools. It's that simple. It's been said here the guidance will be crystal clear on all fronts. The PM has repeatedly insisted he wants to protect children in schools as well as parents' rights. The Policy Exchange think tank found a number of schools were routinely disregarding advice around transgender pupils and were not telling parents of their child's decisions. Just 39 of them reliably informed parents when pupils identified as trans or questioned their gender. 87 did not. Okay. So if there's one child in every one of those 87 schools, and we know that 80% or more were gay, so we're talking about, 60 odd gay kids on the trans train to sterilisation. The cure is puberty. Go deal with your donger. You'll be all right. Keep going. The cure is puberty. The PM had promised the review by the summer term. Well, it's coming then. It's going to be here in the next couple of weeks. If that's the case, the review will be here. Gay and lesbian kids sterilised. I can't. It's just. I gave a talk last night. Went to a bit of a do, which was great. We had lots of good people there with some great questions from the crowd. People talking about the opposite view. What's this mean? What's this? This is the same as what it means to be gay. So we were able to throw a few of these things up in the air and have a good old debate about them, which was grand. It was great to see. But you can't get past it, can you? Sterilising gay and lesbian kids. That should be it, but it's not. You sit in front of people and you go, they're sterilising gay and lesbian children. Do you have an issue with that? Oh, they're not doing that. Weird, isn't it? But that is folk. It's us, isn't it? We're weird. Right. There will be a new independent expert review. Will recommend specific age rating on content. Only high quality teaching materials from approved providers. Here we go. Way. So we've got people, Sex Matters, Transgender Trend, the Bayswater Group, Safe Schools UK. They have produced extraordinarily good resources and really strong educational resources in what they have to say in their knowledge. Perfectly placed for the government to go, right, give it here. Let's get some folks who know what they're doing and do it all online. Don't have them in the classroom. All right? Don't have them in the classroom. Do it online. Yeah, that's what I do. Big screen, school. Hello, boys and girls. And the as yet undecided, if you're that mad, right? So, that's what I do. They sounded the alarms about how parents have been kept in the dark about graphic lessons on oral sex, how to choke your partner safely in 72 genders. I just despair. Education Secretary Gillian Keegan has already written to all head teachers. This is good to hear, Gillian. Has written to all head teachers demanding they share curriculum materials with parents. Absolutely bloody right. The PM himself, a dad of two girls, has previously said he was very concerned about reports into sex education classes and gender. The long-awaited guidance is expected to come this week, but will undergo a lengthy period of consultation. I'm looking forward to that period of consultation because I've got a few things to say. As I imagine the rest of you will have. It's going to be interesting, isn't it? Get it in there. Because all the usual, mad CSJ gender nutters are all going to be doing the same, aren't they? Right, quick. How do we justify telling kids you can choke someone you're making love to? How are they going to respond to it? Is it appropriate that people never make them? I think it's important to also remember that kids are at school for 6 hours a day. Teachers can't do everything. I don't think teachers should do this at all. But teachers can't do everything, The community. We do it. All right, okay, that's what you do. People outside will do it. Kid will say something, you go, yes, because you do X, right? Just answer the damn question when they ask it. Somebody said to me last night, somebody said when their child was 5, how does the man's willy get in the woman? I thought it was a great question. And it's a very 5-year-old question. And she went, well, they just push it in. Oh, all right. And then went to play in the garden. This is how kids are, and it is marvellous. We have to recognise that, Mr. Sunak said, the well-being and safety of children is my top priority. We have to recognise that any degree of social transition could have potentially quite a significant impact and consequence for a child. So it is vital the right safeguards are in place. The PM has tried to draw a dividing line between the Tories, Labour and the Lib Dems over trans issues. Mr. Sunak has repeatedly insisted no woman can have a penis, whereas Lib Dem boss Ed Davey has said, of course, some do. Wanker. Sir Keir Starmer has repeatedly tried to dodge the question recently. He has said that only 1 in 1,000 women have one. What's wrong with the Liberals on the left? Come on, guys. Get back on the reality bus. We're going that way. In footage obtained by Pink News, he said that a recent 1922 meeting of Tory backbenchers, you all know that I'm a big fan of everybody studying maths to 18, but it turns out that we need to focus on biology. To which Pink News responded, Sunak mocks trans people. Right, okay. In what way is that statement mocking trans people? They know, see? They know. So, the call to ban children what they're talking now about the ordeal of the woke teacher. The call to ban children from changing their gender in schools came out after a string of woke outrages. History teacher Roy Huggins claimed he was treated like a paedophile after Year 7 pupils with gender dysphoria complained about a lesson he gave on puberty. They haven't got gender dysphoria, they're just LARPing, right? During the lesson given from an approved textbook, he told boys they could add muscle in the gym as they produce more testosterone than an old man like me. True. The cover teacher also told pupils that biological women would develop different muscles in order to give birth. He was reported to a safeguarding body and faced a disclosure and barring service probe over the lesson. He was cleared by both bodies, but still must inform any future employees of the DBS investigation. We need to be really careful here, because if we're not careful, we are going to give these bureaucratic mental cases more fuel for them to do what they do best, which is what they did to this man, which is to make the process the punishment. Okay? I don't think anything but a disavowal of the entire belief system by the government is going to be enough. We'll see, but I don't think, right, here's what it is, schools. You do not practice. And if you do teach, you teach it as a barn pot cult belief system. That's what I do, right? I can't see how it's going to stop otherwise. The teacher, 54, of South York, said he went through a nightmare 2 months, but left him feeling suicidal. I was on the floor. It was the worst thing that can ever happen to you as a teacher. Last month, the teacher claimed she was sacked for refusing to use an 8-year-old's preferred pronouns. A Nottinghamshire school helped a girl transition into a boy 2 years ago and demanded all staff call the child by their preferred male name and pronouns, but the Christian teacher refused and was suspended, only returning after she agreed to stop talking to the child. She later objected to the child's pronouns again and was sacked. She now works in a sandwich shop. I hope she's all right. I hope she's all right. What we are dealing with is a cult, and the sooner people get their head around that, the better. It's a cult. Okay? Now, you have to understand that teachers that are involved in this, the likes of which we've heard this week, and I can assure you that that's not the only one that's sitting in the woodwork. There are many, many more in schools who believe this shit because they've been taught to believe it by academia. It's all very well and good Sunak putting a sticky plaster on what's being taught at schools, but if you don't deal with the root cause of this, which is academia, if you don't deal and get this stuff out of our society, then we've all got a problem. It is absolutely necessary that we do so, because you need to be aware that the people that are involved in this are righteous cause mentality zealots, right? They will do anything rather than give up their belief system. That reminds me of The Omen. Remember The Omen? With Billy Whitlaw? We were talking about her last night. She was so bloody scary. And there was a scene where Lee Remick was in hospital and she was trying to take off her jumper, and she could see something as we were looking through the jumper, and it turned out to be the nurse. And you see the nurse's, this horrible nursery nurse's face, and the music goes, Ave Satani! Oh! And everybody jumped. It was fabulous. And, you know, and then when he went to meet Leo, was it Leo Kearns? I think it was Leo Kearns who played this old guy who was in a place called Megiddo. He had to go and see the scientist at Buchenhagen, and Buchenhagen said about the nurse, the nasty nurse, the satanic nurse, she is an acolyte of the devil. She will die before you are allowed to harm him. That's it, you see. Look, you know, she is an acolyte of the devil. So be aware that these people will not give up. They like their toys. They like their toys, their belief toys. They like to play with their toys, and they like to expose their toys to children. They are not going to give up, Richie. This is the beginning, not the end. This is the beginning, not the end. Go on, that's my lunchtime thing done. It was far too long anyway. I'm a waffling old fool. See you later!